Recently, I heard a news which said that a province in Pakistan has banned some 100 books in one go. Just imagine that. Wow. But it's not really surprising for anybody who's had any sense of the influence of politics and religion in this country. And a variety of books have been banned over the years, be it on religion, sometimes on science, and often on the nation's history. So the list is really long in this case, and I'm not going to go there because in that case, it would take me at least 100 years or more, which I don't think I have starting this point onwards. So let's keep it short. Let's talk about some of really interesting books which got banned and which can seriously land you in trouble if you ever possess a copy of these books. So I'm going to consider the two sides, the religious and the national one. And let's go in that order, talking about religious one first. And I'm sure most of you have heard about the Satanic Verses written by Salman Rushdie in 1989. The book was written in very much Rushdie style of magical realism. And of course, there were going to be references to history and religion. While this novel primarily focuses on two characters who were Bollywood actors, but then there are specific references which you cannot ignore. And starting with the title itself, I'm sure most of you would know the Satanic Verses. There were certain verses in Quran which Prophet Muhammad received, but they were not supposed to be there. They were received from Satan, and mistakenly they were received by the Prophet, and that's why they are called Satanic Verses, and that's where the reference comes. But that's not it. There are plenty of things in the book which a lot of Muslims find offensive, be it the reference to Muhammad or Aisha. A lot of characters, in fact, some of them go back as far as the other prophets. And we all know what happens next. The book got banned in many countries, including India, Pakistan, and it has been banned since then. And there was fatwa issued against Salman Rushdie by the Iranian government, and he had to go into the hiding. So that's the story. Another interesting book, which was, I shouldn't say interesting, but very offensive rather. It was written during British India, so Pakistan then was a part of India, and it's called Rangila Rasool, which literally translates to colorful prophet. And I'm sure the title would give you some clue. It's about the character of Prophet Muhammad, and especially with regard to his wives and relationships. So let me give you some context to this book. First of all, we don't know who wrote this book, but most likely it was the publisher himself, Mahashay Rajpal. So it was written or published during the times when there was growing tension between Hindus and Muslims. So allegedly, a group of Muslims had distributed a pamphlet in which the goddess Sita of Hindus was depicted as a prostitute, and that of course offended Hindus. So this seems to be in retaliation to that. And the whole document, which is really short, simply just mocks the relationships of Prophet Muhammad, and especially in comparison to some of the religious leaders of Hindu or Buddhist traditions, where people like Buddha, they left everything behind in pursuit of religion or spirituality. But opposite was the case with Prophet Muhammad, who married multiple times, and some of them were controversial, particularly with Aisha, who was really a child at that time. So this book talks about those uncomfortable truths and literally quotes a lot of things from hadith and Islamic sources, and then goes on to really mock the religion and the Prophet. And no surprises, and I don't think this ban can ever be lifted, especially in Pakistan. One recent book on the similar theme was written by Robert Spencer. I'm sure you would have heard the name. He is the founder of Jihad Watch and Stop Islamization of America. He speaks a lot against the radical Islam. He is quite popular on social media. So he wrote this book called The Truth About Muhammad around 14 years ago. And once again, he talks about the uncomfortable truths there in the history. And no surprises, this was banned. In fact, we should be very clear about this, that if you publish anything against the religion of Islam or Prophet Muhammad or Islamic traditions, this is a guaranteed thing to get banned in Pakistan. There is really no exception to that. So almost all kind of literature, from atheists, from the critics of Islam, that has been banned. And the other side of this banning culture is the national history, where supposedly Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the founder of Pakistan, he is regarded as the hero of the country. So any criticism against him, anything against him, would get banned very easily. In fact, a book called Jinnah of Pakistan, published in 1982, that got banned. It was written by Stanley Walpert, and the reason that was given behind banning was there were references of Jinnah eating pork or consuming wine, which was the truth. But of course, you are not supposed to say that, you're not supposed to tell the truth. So really they have problems in multiple areas. As I said, on the religious part, it is quite clear. Everything against religion is blasphemy. The laws are very strict. And sometimes you would find, even if there is not enough evidence, people get caught in this law and they suffer really bad consequences. Sometimes a mob kills them, sometimes they go into the jail. And if you go as far as giving yourself the evidence by writing a blasphemous book, I'm sure you would know what would happen to you. But interestingly, the consequences are pretty similar in other spheres as well. So, for instance, you can't put any of its politicians in bad light and mock them as you would want to. That won't happen. Of course, you can criticize to some extent, but you'll have to mind your language. In fact, I think that's the bigger problem, that language is censored to a large extent. You can criticize or be critical of somebody or something, some idea, but you really have to watch your words, and if you don't, the consequences would be severe. So you can't really use abusive words in your literature, and that is something Salman Rushdie did when he kind of abused multiple figures in his book. So, in a nutshell, I would conclude that you should remember from the name of the country, which is Islamic Republic of Pakistan, which means the Republic and Islam, neither of them should get hurt or offended. And if that happens, expect a ban.